Have you read, anyone has read Joel Goldsmith? Have you? Yeah, he was, yeah, you have. Um, I don't even know how I found him. It was called The Infinite Way, which was his more famous book. And way back, and I would periodically get rid of all my books and then I'd get new books, but I always carried The Infinite Way. And, I've heard his students took recordings and they were on tapes. And, this old Jewish guy from New York, and, talked all about the Christ and God, and, but underneath there was such clarity. You just knew, he knew. And then I read his autobiography, or his biography, not too long ago. I didn't know anything about him. But, it is possible for anyone to change the trend of his life, not by hearing or reading the truth, but by making it an active part of his consciousness and daily experience, until it becomes a habit every moment of the day, and instead of an occasional thought. Let these principles operate in consciousness, morning, noon, and night, until gradually the actual awareness comes. And then we make the transition from being hearers of the word to being doers or being of the word. And then we shall be abiding in the word and shall bear fruit richly. And again, I was trained a lot in the Buddhist traditions. And though I never saw myself as a Buddhist and still don't, it's not a negation, it's just I don't have that particular identity. But something in being mindful, and Thich Nhat Hanh probably brought that out the best of most of all the teachers of that tradition, is just there's only that. And it's in your daily life. And it's when you wake up in the morning and go throughout your day and go to bed at night. No wavering. And then it just takes over, literally. But I also, and I don't know when it'll happen, I'm not quite sure. I think day after tomorrow, I want to go into those places that it doesn't seem to permeate. Those little bubbles that still remain because they're so protected, so denied. There's a wonderful Zen image, and it's the ox. The ox is a very big animal, right? And it crashes through the window. It breaks and shatters the glass. But the tail doesn't come through. That's what I'm speaking of. So I'd like to dive into that, because it's a fascinating question I have of how people who have true and really deep, deep, profound recognitions and still play out some pretty harmful trips to themselves and to others. How does that happen? And I've never found an answer to it. What are you guys all looking at? Just the bird's in here. Oh yeah, there it is. A bat. Woo! Aren't they amazing beings? They're amazing beings. Okay. I'd like to do a guided meditation. And one of the things, and I never really kind of know until we get going, I'd like to bring out, because we all talk about love. And this Sangha, and I know the Full Circle Family Sangha, is a very loving Sangha. I've been with many, many, many Sanghas throughout the years, and it's a very loving Sangha. And we talk about that, and It's not a real strong, look at me, I'm awakened kind of Sangha. It's just this kind of natural and friendly and kind of ordinary, beautiful Sangha. And we talk about love a lot. But what I have observed by, listening and having many sessions with people is we still see love as an object. You know what I'm saying? It's something to be or experience, and we all recognize it. It's totally recognizable by everyone that opens. On some fundamental level, we know love, but we still hold it in an object. But when you really deeply look at what love is, it's simply the dynamic arising of the silent ground. And it arises and pervades and holds all things without, I like you and I don't like you, this is love, this isn't love. It's all love. So again, it can be perceived almost like the metaphor of the sunlight. And it's totally neutral. And it's totally unconditional at the same time. And all of ours, this wall, this floor, are made up of the substance called love. We are made up of love. So the lament that most all human beings have felt in their lives at one time or the other, or perhaps still feel, that I'm not loved. Or mine was, I didn't know how to love. I could see that something just kind of wasn't activated. And boy, was it. And I went to, I had arrhythmia in my heart for like several years as love was waking up in my body. But you know what I'm saying? It's love is the substance you are made up of. That's love. It's the luminous, that when especially Jesus talks a lot about, the light. And Buddhism mostly emphasizes more of the silence, and the ground. But they're one and the same. One is still and the other is dynamic. Right? One is Shiva, the other is Shakti. But it's all one fabric. And if you really start to get that, then it isn't that you're a good loving person sometimes and you're not a good loving person sometimes. That's impossible. It's just that love is activated or love is not called forth or made conscious or activated. Do you kind of see what I'm pointing to? It's almost always missed. I'm not saying it's necessary, but it's helpful sometimes if you actually can see love. And then there's nothing that it's not. That's why it's so unconditional. It isn't some of us deserve it and some of us don't. It's just it's activated in some consciousness and some it's still not activated. So you could change over luminosity and love, and it means the same thing. It's not two. So we'll see if we can explore that just a little bit. It's helpful because then you You just can't, you're not thrown out of the garden anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? No matter what happened to you as a child, it's impossible. It's one thing in Sunday school they had right. God is love, right? It's the same. And stillness and love, one. So let's enter into that is unbroken, the dimension that is constant and is the atmosphere, and there is nowhere that it's not. And one of the most easy, really, and sort of beautiful ways of entering into what we are, there's no one that has it and no one that doesn't have it. That's impossible. Is through listening. But not listening in a linear form. You know, I'm listening over here and I hear the bird, and then I either like the bird or I wish the bird would shut up, or, you know, whatever's going on. And then the attention goes over to the wind and kind of, you know, wonders if there's a rainstorm coming in, or what does the wind mean, but it's more of a continuum. It's like one hears the bird equally at the same time, one hears the wind. And equally at the same time, there's other small movements of sound in the room. Or it could be even your heartbeat. And if you listen very deeply and wholly, not in a linear way, but in a whole way, you can actually hear the blood as it moves through your circulatory system in the body. The voice is being heard at the same time as the bird, as the wind, as this kind of undefinable sound that just seems just below the capability of the human hearing. And yet, when this opens to the totality of sound, the continuity and the spontaneousness of sound, one can also hear at the same moment. It's like a mixture almost like of a crystalline kind of a quality, and then like if you listen deeply into the ocean, it's like a breath, you know, kind of a in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath, and yet a kind of I don't know, like a crystalline light quality, light substance quality. Simultaneously, you can then also bring the attention, and it isn't like you collapse into the attention. It's the opposite. You become more expansive. So this expansive opening kind of quality, it takes in all of the sounds that are happening in the room and all around, you know, outside of the room. And then it can open to the more subtle sounds that are within the body. And then the universal sound. You know, in the classic teachings, it's the sound of Om. But this is before even that forms. It's the substance of the Om. And so now there's just less and less, the more one opens to the spontaneity of sound, the continuum of sound, the arising and falling, and the arising and the falling, and there is no beginning and there is no end. It's just the sympathy of sound. Each playing its part in this great arising of creation and the dissolving of itself. The in-breath and the out-breath. Continuously. So when you become open to what is, that sense of boundary, I'm here, and the air around me is out there, those boundaries begin to dissolve as well. One still can feel the outline and the sense of a person, a me that I'm familiar with. But yet, as it opens it to itself and the deep listening of all of the multiple sounds that are happening in the same moment, then the awareness is equally awake outside of the body, left, right, up, down, all around, all the way through. Then it's like being held in some kind of a mental cage. And then all of the boundaries, they just drop away. That linear understanding or experience of life is just, it's not true. It's an imposition, it's a mental familiarity and imposition. Then there is this quality of joy, of freedom, of the great hallelujah, experiencing oneself, and not in some kind of a high dimension where the body is like an old suit of clothing. The body is just as awake with itself as all around, above, below, all the way through. And so just allow, perhaps you can open the attention where it includes the air within this room. And it can also move beyond this room. This room is just another image, held and embraced and infused by the Holy Presence, the I Am. And there's such a joyful song, such a joyful quality to be free of what has held the sense of me in this boundary, this form. It's just simply become familiar, and then the you and the me and what's arising here is reflected in in the world, in others, and it just sees itself everywhere. The in and the out dissolves, and therefore the good and the bad and all the qualifications. And it isn't, we're brought up in some kind of a fear that if we just let go of the ideas and the qualifications and the definitions, that then we'll just, everything will just go to hell. I mean, without us watching and, opinionating and qualifying, then the unknown, what could happen it's just too much to bear. Underneath letting go is a deep fear, a catastrophic fear. But what one finds is the exact opposite. It's a constancy. It's a celebration. It's a joy without cause. It's a wonder and an awe. And one begins to see and sense, even in the very depths of suffering, underneath and all the way through, is this whole, unbroken, brilliant, aware, compassionate, brilliantly awake love. This is love. It's not an emotion, it plays through emotion. It's not a thing or an arrival. It expresses. And the less overlay, the more it's free to express itself. But it's the atmosphere that we live in and are formed by. It's the guide that guides this life when the obscurations are freed up. Me, you, good, bad, not enough, special. All of those are cages, qualifications, limits. They're all temporary and unreal, actually. And the more you just open to, not an accomplishment or something that you get by being a good spiritual person, it is what it all is made up of. That's the power of it. That's why the sun was so worshipped in so many old cultures, because it was the closest we could experience of what love actually is. It's not an emotion. It's not an accomplishment. It's not enough for me, or it's not, it will destroy me, or it's too much. I won't be able to stand up to it. Well, this is true, but not in the way the mind perceives it. So to see and experience the continuum, that is unbroken, even though a myriad of forms are experienced and created and dissolved, and all of eternity, actually. It's not broken or defined or diminished or even made more. It's the living, breathing, creative, destroyer, experiencer of everything, always and forevermore. It's just simply being with it as it is. And it does take courage. Courage in the heart, in some languages are the same. Where your heart has been hurt, it's to rip apart that defense and open to it. Let the love be free and flow and heal and expose. It's a kind of a exercise, perhaps, in a vulnerability. I've kept myself safe by. But the safety is in open-heartedness, open love. That's the safety. It's the eternal. Before birth, through life, and after death. Same. So it can be, to the habitual definition of me, frightening to just tear your heart open. Let your boundaries go. Just open and expand and open and expand and open and expand forevermore. There is no end to this. So love allows the sounds to express. Love allows the sound to be experienced. Love allows this heaven realm to continually bloom and come back and bloom again, and sun shining, rain happening, wind blowing, flowers blooming, breath being breathed, and the underlying vastness, breathing in, breathing out, the great continuum. And it's alive in the cells of your body, exactly as your body is. The same dark, silent, primordial ground, and the same arising as the luminous light expressing itself in the myriad of forms. Same, in, out, same, no boundary, no real definition. It's just sort of the celebration of itself. Joy without cause. Ever renewing, ever being. So it isn't some good being, some spirit in the sky that shines on you. It's what you are. And there is no end to this. And then it's experienced in the trees, and the sky, and the mountains, and the birds, and fellow human animals. The underlying foundation of all creation, seen and unseen. And in this realization, there is this profound letting go. Most of the spiritual traditions call it the great death, the surrender. But really, it's just opening to what is. And then gladly, you let go of the defenses and the opinions and the specialness and the fear of the unknown and the delusion of control, and all of it is just that too, that too, that too, that too. And it's without above, meaning the heaven realms and all the realms that exist simultaneous as the human form, and all of the below, the heaven, the hell realms, the worst that the mind can make up for the deep suffering. All is the substance, all comes from the substance called love. That's what the great Kuan Yin entered the hell realms and transmuted it and cleared that out 3 times. For compassion and love did this. This is the power of love. So open up. Let the boundaries fall. The definitions go. Be who you are. And then there'll be a moment that you're functioning as you are. It's no longer a practice. The light transforms. You go into a dark room, you turn on the light, and there is now light and the dispelling of darkness. Nothing can stand up to this great, luminous, vast, holy presence of life. Nothing. It's good to know that. It's good to remember this.